NBS Live at 9.
In the news tonight, resolve your internal conflict or else you crash. NUP leadership advised on course of action. Could General Mugisha Muntu be speaking from experience? Najana Nkumbi threatens disciplinary action against collaborators of Katonga FDC faction. Party to convene meeting to hear and dispose cases of hostility. But why is Ambassador Waswa Birigwa describing the move as a joke? South Sudanese refugees in trouble again. Palabek settlement becoming a center of deadly conflicts. Will the installation of a UPDF platoon resolve the unending clan clashes? There will be no room for indiscipline this time. NRM Electoral Commission boss speaks staff ahead of the second party register window for students. But why is he bothered by senior party leaders? Growing concern over bloated list of presidential advisors. Number of presidential advisors almost doubling size of cabinet. Will putting a cap on the number of advisors save taxpayers' money?
This is NBS Live at 9 with Sheila Dusime.
Welcome to Live at 9 tonight. Now, members of parliament are set to move a motion to put a cap on the number of presidential advisors to save the taxpayers' money. Currently, the list of presidential advisors is close to 140, yet some of them are already enjoying benefits from their previous constitutional offices. This list of presidential advisors is now bigger than President Museveni's cabinet.
72 Clause 1 of the Constitution empowers the President to appoint presidential advisors in different capacities, and for the past 10 years, the list of presidential advisors stands at 139, a number bigger than the size of the cabinet.
Presidential advisor, Okumanga, I can't access you.
Members of Parliament are furious that in the next 5 years, the list may rise to 200 presidential advisors. They now want to moot a petition that will put a cap on the number of presidential advisors to save the shrinking economy.
The presidential advisor in charge of the president's dressing, in charge of the president's wardrobe, is the daughter of President Museveni. She's the one in charge, and he calls him the presidential advisor.
And we move a motion so that we really reduce on this expenditure, we reduce on these presidential advisors. They are just too many, and their role is not clear.
The advisors are entitled to a brand new Pajero car, fuel, an office equipped with furniture and staff. Notable faces on the list of over 138 include former Vice President Gilbert Bukenya, former Prime Ministers Amama Mbabazi, Dr. Hakana Rugunda, Janat Mukwaya, Prof. Ephraim Kamuntu, Mary Karoro Krut, Nachiwala Florence Chenji, Catherine Kusasira, Mark Bugembe, aka Buchaman, among others, and members of parliament doubt how often they advise the president.
Honorable Sekandi, my good friend, he's driven along Kampala Road, sirens with many vehicles, he enjoys seeing people, but he's already tired.
So, to me, I think the number is too huge, and it is really taking a toll on the taxpayers' money. And we are really suffering as a country.
The Kalungu West legislator, Joseph Gonzaga Sewungu, disclosed that some of the advisors are fighting tooth and nail to see the person they advise, but in vain.
You saw her one time crying, how she was looking for him and almost wanted to bump into him. The man sent him away.
Though there is no clear salary structure for presidential advisors, it is said that some earn in the range of 2.3 million per month, while others, for some reasons, double or triple.
And their allowances for their duties, it ranges between 10 million shillings to 15 million, depending on the caliber of that person.
Miaga County Member of Parliament Theodore Sechkubo warns that Ugandans should brace for the worst times and be ready to foot a huge salary bill for presidential advisors. He claims President Museveni is presiding over two governments, one of 80 ministers and another of 139 presidential advisors, who must be facilitated as some ministers retain their salaries that they used to earn previously.
Do you need all this? The advisors are more large than even the active government. And as I've said, there is no anywhere that we have seen the presidential advisor advising the president on a very critical matter to the country. Not. It is a nugatory expenditure. You are spending on people who are there to be even advised by the person they're supposed to advise. And that is the paradox. That is a situation that is really worrisome. Why doesn't the president have the minimum levels? For every ministry, for every department in government, there is an advisor. And not one, not two, not three. It is a place where it is like the president is cushioning them from the public scrutiny and rewarding them for one reason or the other. And once you lead a country on rewards, on patronage, it is a sign of patronage. I know there are good and useful advisors there, but more or less they are being saddled by the dead burden of the presidential advisors. Everything, anything, if you want to continue earning from the public without working for that, you are turned into a presidential advisor. Once your usefulness diminishes in cabinet, in public life, then you are called back into the backyard of the presidential advisors, private secretaries, and it is being abused day in, day out. You can't have the presidential advisors, at the same time you have private secretaries, at the same time you have ministers, you have ministers of state, you have directors, now it is another government in a government. In fact, it is more than a government in government, because they tend to overshadow even what you see as a formal structure of.
Now, members of the civil society in the election process have welcomed the government move to cut budgets to several government entities, including Parliament, which they say will see the reduction in commercialization of politics in the country. Henry Muguzi, a democratic governance expert, says this will see less funds available to those seeking political positions, while public servants with political ambitions will also have not much funds to steal and invest in elections.
The proposed budget cuts will affect institutions like Parliament, where 50% of its budget is set to be cut. This move, which is expected to affect other institutions, has been welcomed given that the government has been struggling to finance its budget. Democratic governance expert Henry Muguzi believes this will reduce funds that would be at the disposal for use in the elections.
Because now there will be less money for public spending, but most importantly, less money for stealing. And most of this money that has been ending up in politics is not money that was going for public service, but for stealing purposes.
Uganda's elections have been characterized with huge spending, where candidates have had to bribe voters while others buy off some competitors off the ballot. The Netherlands Institute for Multi-Party Democracy country director, Primus Bahiji, says this has been driven by the winner-takes-it-all system of the election process.
I know that if I lose, I'm going to lose everything. And if I win, I'm going to win everything. So people go into the electoral process with that determination. Now, they are willing to spend as much as possible.
Such spending is, however, predicted to reduce in the forthcoming elections, given the proposed budget cuts proposed by the government.
There are quite a number of civil servants that have been having the tendency of resigning from civil service and joining politics, because politics is lucrative in Uganda. Those are now going to be affected as well, because now they will not have the privilege of looting from a huge basket as they used to.
Election observer Crispin Kaheru says globally countries are struggling, calling for budget cuts, and he's surprised by the government's response in trying to cope with the hard economic times. He says the cuts will not spare the electoral process, given that there are no direct returns from the elections. This move, he says, has been embraced globally, and Uganda is no exception.
Elections don't have that direct return on investment. They are not as productive. They are not, they don't make profit. They don't create direct jobs that are sustained over a period of time. So, elections are dead investments. And therefore, we need to be very careful when we are talking about the expenditure towards elections. We have to understand them within that perspective. democracy is very important. Cardinal. Spending on democracy is very important, but it has to be measured against the resources of a country, but the priorities of the country, but also the reality that elections do not bring profit. The context that we are in is very, very squeezed financially. And definitely, people who have been spending a lot of money in elections for electioneering purposes, they won't have that money available to them. So we are likely to see an election where the expenditures that we have been previously talking about by the individuals seeking to be elected goes down. Why? Because there is no money in the economy.
Senior opposition politician General Mugisha Muntu has called out the leadership of the National Unity Platform, asking them to resolve the ongoing internal conflicts that are threatening to split the party. He says after all the exchanges on the media platforms, the lead opposition political party must now deal with how to manage a separation if the differences become irreconcilable.
In a space of 3 weeks, top leaders in the National Unity Platform have exchanged more than 4 correspondences of a conflict tearing the party apart. Most recent is the letter of the suspended Deputy President Matthias Mpuga revealing his president, who suspended him, is under captivity. In an interview with General Mugisha Muntu, he advised the National Unity Platform party leaders that they ought to cease animosity and agree on how to solve the standoff at hand. According to General Mugisha Muntu, clearing this impasse is the only way to learn how to manage differences when they're shown power.
I think where they have reached now is a point where they need to draw back, get behind closed doors, and work towards resolving those internal contradictions so that they can focus on where they want to go as an organization.
Amidst all odds, General Muntu, who explains that the National Unity Platform should exhaust all avenues available, arguing that even when they reach a point of failure to resolve, separation ought to be managed. While the impasse is an internal matter, its implication on the rest of the opposition is evident, but General Mugisha Muntu is optimistic that NUP can come out stronger from the struggles.
It doesn't affect only yourselves as one organization, it also affects all of us right now who are in the opposition. Hope is a very, very big, important, critical element in those of us who want to take power.
General Muntu, who is a former army commander, has also spoken out on the appointment of General Hossein Kainerugaba as Chief of Defense Forces.
The very fact that he went ahead trying to make political advances while breaking the law, and now suddenly he's shifted from that and becomes the CDF. So now we're dealing with a totally different situation. An officer has been breaking the law, is now heading the national force. That's what causes the complexity in this question.
Now, in the recent weeks, internal strife between the National Unity Platform has dominated headlines, raising questions about the party's unity and effectiveness as the leading opposition force in Uganda. Analysts warn that failure to address these grievances through dialogue could lead the party down a familiar path of division seen in other political parties across the country. But have the warring parties explored the available dialogue options in the party, or there's simply none?
The ongoing disputes among NUP's top leadership have left citizens pondering where Uganda's youngest political party is headed. With tensions rising, many are left wondering about the underlying causes driving the internal discord with no will, or the party lacks internal mechanisms to resolve such a standoff. Political analysts, including governance and democracy expert Henry Kasache, have sounded the alarm, expressing concern that the prolonged infighting within NUP could undermine public confidence in the opposition movement.
NUP should think about the broader implications. The squabbles within NUP are not simply affecting Mpuga or NUP. They are affecting the entire political opposition in this country, because NUP had presented itself as a new force. Now, if this is happening, many people, many Ugandans who believe that political parties should be supported are losing this opportunity. Many people are passing judgment on political parties, and people will tell you we don't have political parties in this country.
Others agree that unity of the opposition is essential for effectively challenging the ruling party and advocating for interests of the people.
The hope and aspirations of Ugandans should be a factor that all NUP leaders should be taking into account in whatever decisions they make, even in parliament and across all board. And I think that is the way forward for NUP.
Analysts and party members alike recognize the value of open communication. Christine Kaya, the Chiboga Woman Member of Parliament from the National Unity Platform, believes there should be respect for internal decisions taken by party leaders.
The party has leadership. The age group of the populace that voted us has its needs, which are not the needs of the 80s. Come knowing that, yes, much as we believe in the potentials for everybody, we believe in the contributions for everybody, but at least there is a main cause to which we should all stand. It doesn't need you to have a PhD to say this is wrong, this is right.
The future of Uganda's political position hangs in balance with the outcome of these internal conflicts shaping the course of the country's democratic journey.
Now, the Forum for Democratic Change founding President, retired Colonel Dr. Kizza Besigye, has added his voice to those within FDC who are calling for the formation of a new political party instead of going back to Najanankumbi. During a consultative meeting held at Mpumude Estate Primary School in Jinja City, Besigye stated that the Najanankumbi group is already compromised, hence there is no need of joining them.
Leaders of the FDC Katonga Group continue to traverse the country, holding consultative meetings on the way forward they should take. Today, the group led by FDC founding president Dr. Kizza Besigye, former party chairman Owaswa Birigwa, and the other party leaders spent the greater part of the day in Jinja, where they held a regional consultative meeting. The meeting was attended by pro-Katonga supporters and leaders from all districts in Busoga, who informed the gathering about the resolutions they made about the way forward for the Katonga group.
New party still has to be, there must be activism in it. Because as of now, parties are not allowed to operate. Even here where we are standing today, the police had blocked us, meaning that we don't have still space. So we are struggling to have space to make sure that this country can be liberated.
So for us as Jinja City, as Busoga at large, we are not going back to Najanankumbi, we are going to reform a new party.
The majority of the leaders in Busoga proposed they form a new party.
Let's not waste our time with a crashed vehicle. Let us go buy a new vehicle.
So Busoga has collectively agreed that a new political formation or party should be created through which our political aspirations can be run.
Meanwhile, the FDC founding president Dr. Kizza Besigye has dismissed the proposal by some members within the FDC who are harboring hopes of holding dialogue with the Najanankumbi group.
Nembagamba biganye bitya ebintu biganye tugezesaako buli kimu kikoze eki kiganye nembagamba mubadde mugamba mutya nebagamba nti omanyi ng'ebintu nga bwe bikalubye tukole kye tutakolanga nti otyo kiki aba nti kye tunaakola bintu nga bwe biganye betulwana nabo.
Now, away from the deepening rift within the National Unity Platform, we head back to the Forum for Democratic Change, where the Najanankumbi branch could again face off with the Katonga faction. This after the Najanankumbi group's move to take disciplinary action against Ibrahim Semujunganda, Kennedy Okello, Elias Lukwago and Mubarak Munyagwa. But Chairman FDC Katonga Owaswa Birigwa has described them as daydreamers.
That those who are stating such, they either sleep or dreaming, because the reality is that no one is mandated to call a disciplinary committee except the chairman, and I'm the chairman, and I've not called one yet. So whatever they're talking about, I don't understand. Tell them to read and understand the Constitution. of FDC. It's the chairman who's in charge of disciplinary. It's the one who selects who's going to be on the disciplinary committee. None other. So either they are dreaming or asleep.
The ruling National Resistance Movement warns its leaders against coercive registration of students in the next round of its recruitment drive beginning in May 2024. The NRM Chairman, Electoral Commission, Dr. Tango Doi, says any leader who will be found registering ineligible students expecting to increase their support base will be dealt with accordingly. Dr. Tanga warns that acts of coercion to register ineligible voters amounts to indiscipline and punishable according to the party constitution.
After the March 2024 NRM mass recruitment exercise, the party will again register more members in May this year and spread its net wide. This time, the ruling party will be targeting learners who were in school while the first registration exercise was going on. Learning from their past experience, the party wants the registration of learners to be voluntary and free from coercion of young people to join NRM.
The voluntary aspect is that all political parties must know I joined as a member voluntarily and I have the free will to live. So NRM does not want to coerce anybody, including students, to say you join. The students should see the value of NRM, appreciate the value, and join it.
The NRM is targeting learners between the age of 16 and above who could have been busy in school, tertiary institutions, and universities while the exercise was being carried on in March 2024. The NRM Electoral Commission boss, Dr. Tanga Odoi, however, strongly warns leaders intending to ferry ineligible learners to get registered in anticipation that they will support them in primaries.
We want to tell leaders to act like leaders. We have not had problems in any election because of anything. It's because of leaders. There are those who will now want to coerce those students because they want them to vote for them in the primaries and bring even underage students and claim this and the other. We shall stick to what we want. The students have learner identification numbers. They will ask them for that.
The party is ever still tight-lipped on the outcome from the March registration while launching the exercise NRM 2026 election roadmap. It was disclosed after an internal audit that the party is closer to 11.4 million voters, contrary to the earlier report of 17 million.
Now, the big question tonight is where does the Electoral Commission chairperson, Dr. Tango Odoi, derive powers to act on members registering non-members? Let's take a look at the Constitution. According to the NRM Constitution, as amended in 2010, Chapter 3(7) subsection, members are supposed to observe discipline, behave honestly, and be loyal to the decisions of the majority of the members of the organ where a member belongs and to the decisions of higher organs within the structures of NRM. And it also stipulates that members must adhere to the principle that the interests of NRM stand above everything else, subordinating his or her personal interests to the interests of NRM and the nation. That is gotten from the NRM Constitution. Now we take a look at the poll question for tonight.
Feedback brought to you by
Write your story with us. Your story matters.
Now we get to listen to your feedback for tonight. Let's take a look at the question. What is your view about the proposal by some MPs to have a limit on the number of presidential advisors appointed by the president? The hashtag is Nbs Live At. Now let's take a look at your feedback. Joseph Kato, who says, the proposal is quite good because they're just wasting the taxpayers' money in salaries and allowances. But even the MPs, they're excessively many. Let them also bring a proposal that will limit their numbers. That's from Joseph. Let's take a look at Josh K, who says it's a good proposal, but I would wish them to also discuss on how to reduce the number of MPs in the August House. The country is really spending a lot of money just to facilitate the huge numbers of the MPs. Okay. Honorable Albert Omara, I totally agree with the motion because we can't have more than 100 presidential advisors who are again advised by the President Museveni. That's misuse of public funds and must be stopped with immediate effect. Now, this feedback takes us into a short break. We'll be back with more stories.
Our stories begin right here. And we never write them alone. Sometimes we write them with someone who puts our story first. Other times with someone who puts their own story first. There'll be pages we love to read again and again, and some we'll barely remember. Sometimes we feel like the hero of our story, and other times, not. There are stories of dreamers, stories of creators, stories of strivers, stories of believers, and we're inspired by them all. That's why we invite you to write your story with us. Your story matters.
The government of Uganda, in collaboration with the International Telecommunication Union, ITU, welcomes you to the Global Symposium for Regulators, GSR 24, taking place at the Speak Resort and Convention Center Munyonyo in Kampala from July 1st to 4th, 2024. The Global Symposium for Regulators is an annual event organized by the International Telecommunication Union, ITU. The GSR brings together 700 international delegates, including the world's telecommunication and information communication technology regulators, policymakers, and industry stakeholders. Let's work together to promote regulation for impact. Welcome to GSR 24 Kampala.
Spice up your breakfast with Prestige Margarine. Easy to spread and fortified with vitamins A, D, and E. Now available in original and vanilla flavors. Perfect for your bread, chapati, mandazi, and all your baking needs. Find Prestige Margarine at nearby supermarkets and shops. Distributed by Chapa General Enterprises, Shop number 3, Chikovo, Rafik Building, Kampala. Prestige Margarine. Spread it, taste it, love it.
My brother might be blind, but for him, football is not just about what we see, but what we feel.
Top stories brought to you by
Stay ahead in your business with Bank of Africa's contract financing solutions, available at every stage of your contracts. Bank of Africa, as strong as a group, as close as a partner.
Welcome back. Now the top stories for tonight. General Chamuntu advises NUP leaders to resolve their internal issues and save the party. We also looked at the Najana Nkumbi faction that threatens disciplinary action against collaborators of Katonga FDC faction. We looked at the NRM Electoral Commission that warns leaders ahead of the second party register window for students that they risk disciplinary action if they violate the party constitution. Those were the top stories for tonight. Let's take a look at other stories. A total of 77 refugees of South Sudan origin have been detained in Lamu for participating in clan clashes that led to the death of 3 other refugees. The Lamu District Resident Commissioner Geoffrey Osborne says the clan clashes have become a security threat as some refugees travel from West Nile to involve themselves in revenge attacks.
All these refugees who died in the clan clashes at Palabek settlement belong to the Nur tribe from South Sudan.
We have lost 3 people. And this is life lost. It will not come back. It is because we are not having enough manpower to arrest the situations. We had to get manpower from Banabana barracks, which is over 160 kilometer stretch.
One person seriously was stabbed with knife, and the 2, one was cut with panga, and the other one was beaten with the stick seriously, whereby we collect them to the hospital. It took like 2 days there. Unfortunately, the person died.
The fight started from Canaan Nursery and Primary School on Friday, where a female prefect reprimanded a male pupil and tension spilled to the family members. The violent clashes led to the death of Kong Riek, aged 29 from Fanga clan, Lamut, aged 26, and Gwetech Mashal, both from Bol clan.
last year, December, yes. The fight escalated and we lost 2 lives here in Palabek settlement. So one ran away from here up to Kenya and he was followed and killed from Kenya. So it is a very serious situation between these two clans.
The Lamu District Resident Commissioner, Ocheng Jeffrasbon, says the violence has become a serious security threat, thus calling on government to install a UPDF platoon within Palabek.
So we need an additional 6 police posts to help handle the manpower gap.
Lamu District has over 100,000 refugees, a majority of whom come from neighboring South Sudan, a country that has been at war since 2013. In 2020, more than 600 South Sudanese refugees were relocated to Lamu Refugee Settlement from Palaronyi Settlement in Obongi District following tribal clashes in which hundreds of hearts were torched and 2 lives lost.
The district leaders in Chiriandongo and the United Nations have asked the Ugandan government and humanitarian agencies to advocate for peace in South Sudan and other conflicting countries so that refugees can go back to their countries. These as refugees fought for food donations from the United Arab Emirates Embassy, forcing police to fire tear gas to disperse them.
Available data shows that Chiriandongo refugee settlement is a home to over 70,000 refugees, with the number still on the rise as lorries continue to ferry refugees from the conflict-riddled South Sudan. Whereas these seek peace in Uganda, a visit to the camp signifies grief and anger, and with many wondering whether peace will ever return to their countries. The legislators in Chiriandongo district say they are under pressure to plan for the daily influx of the South Sudanese refugees.
But we are at a pressure. As I talk, this new influx of over 8,000 people, it's not going to be easy.
The Chiriandongo district chairperson Aliguma Edith wants the government to always give special considerations whenever it comes to budgeting.
And remember, they have come from a very harsh condition. They expect that in this refuge, they should be taken care of very well. So in the absence of services, we are afraid they can become very hostile.
In Chiriandongo refugee settlement, about 90% of refugees are Muslims. It's for this reason that the United Arab Emirates Embassy, together with UN Women, donated a consignment of food to help refugees during Ramadan. But as soon as the UAE ambassador to Uganda, Abdallah Ashamsi, launched the distribution, refugees became impatient, overpowering the police to access the food distribution point. Fights ensued, prompting police to fire tear gas, but even then, it couldn't calm the situation.
Some of them fight because they think that when they look at the number of the packages, they think that it will not be enough for them. And it's true.
For the issue of refugees, the issue of refugees is a very challenging one. It's not just an issue for Uganda as a country.
With the situation expected to become hard, Chiriandongo leaders and humanitarian agencies want countries to jointly push for peace in Sudan and DR Congo so that refugees can return home.
We know we have conflict in South Sudan, so we need all of us to work together to make sure that we end this causes of refugee. DRC Congo, the same thing. We know we have conflict going on.
We need to have peace in order to reduce on these numbers. Unless peace prevails in these countries, refugees will continue coming up.
Now, Dolway Island remains unparalleled in scenic views with a mastery of ancient rock artwork and tourist activities. Whereas the site brings on board a unique product, it has not seen the warmth of commendable tourism development. The conservators at the site are asking the government to quickly swing in and unpack this gem's potential for the benefit of the local community as well.
Stretched away in the comfort of the majestic blue waves east of Lake Victoria in the Namaingo district, Dolway Island presents herself in a tamed rock work formation. But how did this island adopt this name?
The founder, who is Rabango, that sent his team to come and look for a new place to stay. He was told that Mujemdore, meaning you go and see by yourself.
Its extensive and intricate rock artwork is easy on the tourist's eye, and it's evidence enough that early inhabitants lived here, a main attraction for researchers and archaeologists.
Paintings here, when you show them, you see them, they show they are clamp-like. Then they have the rotations and the number of paintings. We can also interpret, we normally interpret that they were trying also to draw the tools that they were using.
But aside from photo ops, tourists are spoiled for choice in terms of tourist activities like the boat cruise, bird watching, quad biking, rock hiking, and rock music.
We have rock gongs, we have rock depressions, there are rock paintings on this island, and all these things are natural. Things that trace back from 20,000 years ago. Now that is something you don't want to miss on catching.
Despite its potential, not much has been done in terms of its publicity. Tourist trails, accommodation and access remains a challenge, with only one Maram Road and the AV Sigulu as the safest means of access. But Minister Tombotimi reiterated the Tourism Ministry's commitment to bridge the infrastructural gaps.
The budget framework, which is being discussed now, yesterday and today, roads are very prominent in the budget framework 2024-2025, to work on these roads so that tourists do not get stuck.
Now, Uganda was the first to develop museums and monuments or cultural heritage sites in East Africa. Currently, Uganda has the lowest number of museums and heritage sites. Museums contribute to the conservation and promotion of natural and cultural heritage in any given country. And in numbers that matter tonight, we look at the entries to museums and monuments that are said to be on the upward trend now. Now, in 2017, the total entries were 54,219, and the number slightly increased to 54,378 in 2018. And the same trend continued in 2019, when museums and monuments received 54,426 visitors. The numbers, however, dropped to the lowest in 2020 due to COVID-19 to 3,910. It further dropped to 2,883 visitors in 2021, raising fears among the industry players. The numbers shot up in 2022, with museums and monuments registering 67,366 visitors. And in 2023, the number of visitors hit a record high of 131,508 visitors, accounting for an increase of 95%. By 2023, visitation had not only rebounded but grown significantly compared to the pre-pandemic levels, with both foreign and domestic visitors showing robust increase. Now, moving away from that, concerns are mounting over the potential outbreak of cholera in Moroto Central Market. The market is currently operating without basic necessities such as clean water and electricity. Local authorities have blamed the central government for collecting the money from vendors but failing to remit it back in time. The once beautiful 24 billion shilling Moroto market is now a place of filth and garbage. Garbage is scattered across its premises, and sanitation facilities have been rendered unusable due to the lack of running water and routine cleaning services. The vendors and customers alike are forced to navigate through hazardous conditions, raising alarm bells about the imminent risk of disease outbreaks, partially cholera. The market also operates without electricity, forcing vendors to close business early. Local authorities in Moroto have pointed fingers at the central government, alleging mismanagement and negligence in handling funds collected from vendors at the market. Now, moving away from that, residents living along the border with the Democratic Republic of Congo have been asked to maintain vigilance against any possible infiltration of the Allied Democratic Forces rebels into the country. The State Minister for Information, Godfrey Kabyanga, emphasized the need to report any new faces detected to security authorities and local leaders. His caution came weeks after the UPDF put the masses on alert, indicating that the remnants of the Allied Democratic Forces had infiltrated the country through the porous borders to destabilize the prevailing peace. And in foreign news tonight, Air Tanzania faces financial turbulence with a $22 million loss. Canadian school boards sue social media giants for billions, while in Senegal, the country's Constitutional Council confirms the election victory of opposition candidate, paving way for his swearing in.
Tanzania posts a $22 million loss for the year, the fifth highest amongst public companies and about 32% above the $15 million loss it registered last year. 4 Canadian school boards are seeking more than $4 billion Canadian dollars in damages from Meta Platforms and Snapchat in a lawsuit alleging that their products harmed their students. Senegal's Constitutional Council confirms the presidential election victory of opposition candidate Bassirou Faye, paving the way for his inauguration as the country's 5th president. Germany will partially legalize cannabis starting Monday, April 1st, although several restrictions remain on access to and use of the popular drug. President Zelensky warns that the Ukrainian forces would have to cede further territory if the U.S. military aid does not arrive soon.
Well, we take a look at the Ramadan tip for today.
Brought to you by Welly Travel, your life-changing journey.
The relationship between Quran and Ramadan is more stronger than the relationship between Ramadan and fasting. The priority is Al-Quran. شهر رمضان الذي أنزل فيه القرآن. Allah talks about the month where Quran was revealed, and then after that he says, فَمَنْ شَهِدَ مِنْكُمُ الشَّهْرِ. If it comes upon you, then fast. But number one is Al-Quran. Quran is your constitution. Quran is everything. Imam Shafi'i says, مَنْ أَرَادَ الدُّنْيَا فَعَلَيْهِ بِالْقُرْآنِ. If you want to be successful in this world, read Quran and understand it. If you want to be successful in the hereafter, read the Quran. If you want to be successful in both, read the Quran. Understand and reflect upon it. Quran was not revealed only to be read or to be memorized. Quran was revealed to understand, to ponder, to reflect upon it, to understand this book which talks about the Bible. It talks about Prophet Jesus. It talks about Moses. It talks about others. This is the book of Al-Quran, the book of Allah. Read and ponder and reflect upon it. We understand more and we benefit more from Al-Quran when we read it with a clean heart.
Brought to you by Welly Travel, your life-changing journey. Join us at the Concept Kickstarter 2024, a premier event for real estate, business and innovation enthusiasts. Scheduled for March 29th to the 30th at the Westin Waltham, Boston. This conference, hosted by Brian Kayongo,
what you are seeing here today, which is being done, you can do it.
Brings together leading minds like Thach Nguyen and Vusi Tembekwayo, among others. Dive into the world of business strategies, real estate insights, and groundbreaking ideas. Learn how to build generational wealth and make impact changes. With keynote speeches, engaging panel discussions, and a field tour. It's your getaway to the future of business and philanthropy. Grab your tickets now. $500 for executive and $750 for VIP access. Don't miss this transformative experience. You can book your tickets from our website www.theconceptrealestate.com or call us on +256 773 190 333 or +1857 300 90 33 to make your bookings. Powered by
With our NCBA Bank Home Loan, we can finance up to 80% of your mortgage and give you a repayment period
of up to 25 years.
Daddy, that is 25 birthdays for me in our own home. Many, many suppers together. Lots of laughter with mommy.
We know that it's not about the house, but the many memories made in it. Get an NCBA home loan with up to 80% financing. The name is NCBA, and the numbers that matter to you matter to us. NCBA Bank. Go for it.
The government of Uganda, in collaboration with the International Telecommunication Union, ITU, welcomes you to the Global Symposium for Regulators, GSR 24, taking place at the Speak Resort and Convention Center Munyonyo in Kampala from July 1st to 4th, 2024. The Global Symposium for Regulators is an annual event organized by the International Telecommunication Union, ITU. The GSR brings together 700 international delegates, including the world's telecommunication and information communication technology regulators, policymakers, and industry stakeholders. Let's work together to promote regulation for impact. Welcome to GSR 24 Kampala.
Attention everyone, the Ministry of Health has planned to vaccinate all regions: Kampala, Buganda, Teso, Ankole and Karamoja. Vaccination is free and available at all government health facilities and outreach posts in these regions. The vaccination campaign will take place from April 2nd to April 8th, 2024. The vaccine is safe, effective and free of charge and has been approved by World Health Organization and Ministry of Health. This message is from Ministry of Health with support from Gavi.
Welcome back. Now, medical teams in West Nile sub-region have expressed the need to strengthen disease surveillance systems, expand networks and improve laboratory capacity to prevent a potential plague. This as the Democratic Republic of Congo continues to register cases in the provincial health divisions of Ituri province, thus posing a potential threat and a spillover effect to Uganda.
Heightened levels of tension amongst the people living in the border districts of West Nile brought about by an outbreak of a plague in the eastern parts of the Democratic Republic of Congo. The medical teams say that due to the porous borders plus human and animal interaction in the two international markets, the plague might find its way into Uganda and this will strain the healthcare system.
As I talk now, there is ongoing outbreak in two health zones. One is very close to us, that is Nbs district, the Reti health zone, where from January to end of Feb, they reported 129 cases with 6 days.
Host a flea market every week, twice in a week, with people coming all over from DRC. And we also receive people coming to the nearby health center called Okia Health Center. And so there's that close interaction between Uganda and DRC.
They say that the district, together with the Uganda Virus Research Institute, is investing in training and equipping traditional healers with the knowledge to identify and report infectious diseases in order to bolster defense against such a threat.
Traditional healers network is an intervention that was developed to basically monitor plague among humans. We know that humans, people usually go to traditional healers. That's the first health facility that they go to.
They add that a network of 65 traditional healers has been established to identify and refer plague cases to healthcare centers. However, according to experts, key to preventing a plague lies in early detection and rapid response, which requires investment in advanced technology such as real-time data analysis.
Business Pulse.
In business tonight, the Ministry of Agriculture has kick-started consultations on a draft bill on plant protection and agrochemical products use to address concerns of hazardous products that have increasingly continued to flood the market. While meeting stakeholders under their umbrella organization, Crop Life Uganda, farmers raised worries over acquisition of import permits for agriculture protection products.
With concerns, the increasing counterfeit agrochemical products without proper regulations to address the effects of counterfeit and hazardous agricultural products, a draft bill is underway to tackle this challenge. This is partly attributed to porous borders where such products easily enter the market. The Acting Assistant Commissioner for Agrochemicals at the Ministry of Agriculture, Animal Industry and Fisheries, John Mwanja, reveals the new bill will bridge gaps in the existing laws.
It's important in the entire agro sector because the members of CropLife are the ones who are responsible for distributing these products in the country. So basically, we are looking at their challenges as regards to importation, registration of products, fighting counterfeits.
To address concerns of delayed import permits, Mwanja blames it on failures by farms to provide necessary information and samples of their products to quicken the process.
They have to play a part in it, not just only complaining. An example is that somebody can apply to register the product. We ask for information, he takes ages to provide.
The chairperson for Crop Life Uganda, Agnes Mbabazi, stressed the need for the government to empower local actors within the sector instead of creating an enabling environment for foreign and multinational companies.
Registering a product takes 3 years, okay? Literally, it's supposed to be 3 seasons, but it goes to 3 years. Now, for you to ban out these products, you must have an alternative. We are talking products like glyphosate that don't have an immediate replacement. So when you ban them, you must have a replacement. Now, what happens to those products that are still here? They are very effective, but they are very hazardous. That's why they are banned. So farmers still look for them.
There is public outcry in Isinjiro district following the internet and phone network inconsistencies, most especially along the borderline with Tanzania. This challenge has since affected business growth and automation of the banking systems and mobile money transactions as Tanzanian Vodacom continues to overpower the Ugandan telecom networks.
Located at the north border of Tanzania, most parts of Isinjiro district are grappling with poor internet connection and phone network, which has greatly affected business growth in the area. Sub-countries of Chigagati, Rubogota, Kakamba, Mbare and Ndizi are most affected since they are located adjacent to the borderline.
And the network of Tanzania, Vodacom, is very strong. So we get a lot of interference in our local network in Uganda.
The poor network and internet connectivity have negatively impacted on automation of financial institutions and mobile money transactions in the area, which poses a very big risk to financial institutions as it might result into fraud due to lack of consistent monitoring.
When the branches are working on their own platforms, then supervision becomes a problem.
Whereas some financial institutions have moved to digitize the banking system through mobile money transactions, poor network and internet connectivity still curtail them.
Sports news brought to you by
Black shines bright. Drink it
in sport, Uganda's long-distance sensation Jacob Kipilmo has won the 2024 Senior Men's Title World Cross Country Championship held in Belgrade, Serbia today. Whereas Kipilmo defended the title he won last year, the 2019 champion Joshua Cheptegei finished a distant 6th.
To defend his Senior Men's World Cross Country Championship title he won last year in Australia, Jacob Kiplimo crossed the finishing line in an impressive time of 28.9 seconds.
Best distance runners behind him as he becomes World Cross Country champion once again here in Belgium.
With 24 minutes on the clock, Kiplimo started to make a move. Aregawi, who followed Kiplimo home in Bathurst last year, also started to make his presence known, moving on to the shoulder of the Ugandan, while Kenya's 2021 World Under 25,000 meter champion Kiplangat moved into third. speed. Kiplimo continued to stretch ahead of his opponents on the final lap. With each stride, he was gaining in confidence that he would retain his title.
I think actually I'm now excited because now I've defended my title. I'm really so happy. I think to me, strategy was just to stay in back until maybe the last circuit to go, and then I tried to push it.
Aregawi also replicated his finish from Bathurst last year, taking silver again in 28-12. Kiplangat was just fourth at the Kenyan Cross Country Championships held on for bronze in 28-14, but gained gold in the team standings as was the first of 5 Kenyans to finish in the top 8. 2019 champion Joshua Cheptegei finished somewhere out of the individual medals in 6th, but he earned silver in the team contests. Ethiopia took bronze, finishing comfortably ahead of Spain. With a back-to-back victory, Kiplimo joins an illustrious list of athletes to have successfully defended a world cross-country title, including Kenenisa Bekele, Jeffrey Kamurol, and Paul Tegat. Ethiopia's Beruhu Aregawi, meanwhile, also repeated his finish from the last edition to take silver, while Kenya's Benson Kiplangat earned a surprise bronze. With Beatrice Chebet successfully defending her title in the senior women's race earlier in the day, it's just the 5th time in history that both the senior men's and women's championships have retained their title at World Cross Country Championships. Uganda is represented by 27 athletes at the ongoing championships in Belgrade, Serbia. Rita Tugumisirize, Martin Kayes, Live at 9.
Sports news brought to you by
Black shines bright. Drink it in.
Oh, Sarah, these two are creeping into your personal space. Why don't we send them packing? Or maybe not.
Rachel Rich. The Queen Cobra, the password of the money, the original no spare parts, the 11th commandment, the question and the answer.
Sis, I know you want money, but I'm also broke.
Ah, no. Money is not an object. These days, Momo sorts me out anytime. In fact, my sister, let me also sort you out.
Really?
I've just sent you instructions on how to get a loan on Momo. I'm here for you. Can I borrow some chips?
When you need a loan, you've got MTN Momo. We're so tingy. Use the Momo app or dial *165*5# for all quick loans. Choose from the different loan options from our partners and get one that works for you. Together, we're unstoppable.
In December, you would shop without a shopping list. You would even ask for a driver for your shopping cart.
Hey, honestly, you want me to pay? And again, I carry. Get someone to carry these things.
But now New Year is here. You're even carrying the weighing scale to the shop.
But, Chiruba, I can't come take a shower with her.
New Year, come here one more party too with all its problems. But don't worry, because all is sorted with Stanbic Bank. Simply pay using your Stanbic Visa card or FlexiPay and stand to win up to a 10% cashback. For more information, contact us on 0800 150 150 or visit our social media platforms.
Gear up, grab your running shoes and join the race for life. Run 42, 21 or 5 kilometers to equip Kisoro Hospital's very first ICU. Then, after the finish line, groove all night at the ultimate dance showdown with DJs and performers from Uganda and Kigali. Secure your sport at virungamountainmarathon.org and be a part of history. Save the date, June 1st, 2024 at Shaza Ground, Kisoro Town. Race for a cause. Run for life.
Are you ready for an Easter weekend like no other? Picture this: 4 blissful days nestled in the serene beauty of Lake Victoria Serena Golf Resort and Spa. Wake up to the gentle lapping of the lake, indulge in exquisite dining experiences, and tee off at our world-class golf course. But wait, there is more. Rejuvenate at our Maisha Spa Renewal Retreat for a pampering session or soak up the sun by our stunning poolside with activities for every taste. From thrilling water sports to relaxing nature walks, there is never a dull moment at Lake Victoria Serena. So why settle for an ordinary Easter weekend when you can make it extraordinary? Book your getaway now and create memories that will last a lifetime. Lake Victoria Serena Golf Resort and Spa, where every moment is magical.
Oh, Sarah, these two are creeping into your personal space. Why don't we send them packing? Or maybe not.
Sparkle Salon knows that good grooming is not an option in the modern world. It's a basic need. A need which we have for over 2 decades mastered provision of by building a great team of professionals and never compromising on the quality of our products. A need that we exist for and are very serious about. We want to give you the look that you desire. We have created great ambiances and convenience for our clients at all of our branches at Oasis Mall, Garden City, Lugogo Mall, Forest Mall, and Acacia Mall. Sparkle Salon, inspired by your needs.
Well, thank you for joining me tonight. That was all for this night. I wish you a happy Easter tomorrow and see you tomorrow, same time.